What's the name today?
You'll see.
Turn up the volume.
Shh! Let's remember these incidents.
I'm sick and tired of this work.
I hate my room. I want to change everything in it.
This online school is killing me.
Abdelhadi, don't you know how to clean up your mess? When you will become responsible and clean up after yourself?
You know what, Mama? If you just stop shouting, you'll be the best mother in the world.
Do you know why we're all feeling
Matted.
What is matted?
It's a real word.
So what does it mean?
Matted.
If you keep saying it, I won't know what it means.
Matted. Rutty. Messed up.
Matted hair is very tangled hair.
I feel like tangled hair.
Yes, I feel tangled hair in my throat.
Now, you want to study English? Now?
And when I ask you to study, you don't study. Come on, guys, you just made the video longer for no reason.
Okay, what do you want to say?
Do you know why we all feel bad here? Choose an incident for us to discuss.
This one.
I knew it. Okay. Frankly speaking, the problem is that mothers, before giving birth, they perceive their children in a certain way. We think like, my children will memorize Quran, they will be calm, study by themselves, A students, athletes, clean up after themselves. They will say, okay, mommy, and they will listen from the first time.
Fantasy.
Actually, it is fantasy because human beings are not perfect. We're no prophets. And after our children grow up, we get the reality shock. Because we compare them to the fantasy we had in our minds. And when we compare two things, we focus on what?
The differences.
Exactly. We constantly feel that our children lack such and such and such to become good. And while I try to raise this child, I talk to him as if he has deficiencies. And I'll start criticizing and scolding him all the time, and why you're like this, and look at that person who's better than you. And I'll talk to him with disgust and contempt. And even if I did not explicitly tell him that I am disgusted, he will get that feeling from my face expressions and voice tone. And why is all that? Because we don't know or we forget the name of Allah, AlBaari, the Originator.
What's the originator?
The originator is the one who created everything out of nothing.
And what does this name have to do with the subject?
When I know that Allah created us from nothing, instead of comparing you to the fantasy in my mind, I should compare you to nothingness. Instead of saying, why doesn't Abdelhadi clean up after himself? I should say, praise to Allah who created Abdelhadi. Allah created a healthy boy who fills our house with joy and happiness, who makes food for himself as well. And when I start seeing the features that you have and thank Allah for them, Allah will increase these features. If you give thanks, I will increase you.
Allahu Akbar. This means you will not ask us to clean up anymore?
No, not that. You still have to clean up. We are obligated to raise our children. But when we know the name of Allah, the Originator, the way will change. How will I raise them? Teach them and advise them. What kind of relationship will we have? Instead of constant criticism and quarrels, I will teach you with kindness, mercy and love because I appreciate you guys. And this applies to all other incidents because Allah originated everything. Your room that you hate, instead of comparing it to your fantasy room, compare it to nothing. You will appreciate it and thank Allah for its existence. Online school is much better than no school. Your screaming mother is better than having no mother. Boring work is better than no work. And please don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean that I should not be ambitious or I shouldn't develop myself, but during the journey of development, I will be satisfied and grateful to Allah, the Originator, who created everything. The blessing of existence is one of the greatest blessings that we all forget and we don't appreciate. I remember an interview I watched a while ago. Give me the computer, I show you.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for asking.
I have a deal for you. What if I give you $1 million in cash right now? How would you feel?
Whoa, that would make me happy and grateful.
What if I give you 10 times more but under one condition. You don't wake up the next morning. Would you still take the deal?
Of course not.
So you do realize that the fact of just waking up in the morning is worth more than $10 million.
See?
Listen, Mama, you know why he doesn't want the 10 million? It's not because he wants to live another day. I believe he's afraid of death. Personally, if you want my opinion, I don't think existence is a blessing. If I don't exist, I won't have any responsibility. There is no halal and haram, nor heaven and hell. I do not feel anything because simply I do not exist.
Do you mean if I give you a ticket to the Maldives, you will tell me, I wish you had not given me the tickets because the airport is a hassle? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity to enter heaven and see Him and live in paradise for eternity. And you are saying, I don't want because the world is tiring? How long do we live in this world? 100 years? It will pass. And on the day of resurrection, people will say, we stayed for a day or a part of a day. The world is nothing compared to the eternity in the hereafter.
But not everyone ends up in heaven. There are people who go to hell. What's so good about that?
Okay, let me get this straight. What you're saying is that you're sad because if you don't follow Allah's orders, you will go to hell? So follow the orders. Actually, this is the purpose of hellfire. To be afraid of it, follow the orders and enter heaven. It's like a fine for crossing the red light. What's the purpose of it? So we don't cross the red light. It's for our own safety. And no one ever says, I don't want the car, I don't want to drive because if I cross the red light, I'll pay a fine. No, why don't you just respect the law? But wishing that I don't exist for me not to suffer, this is not logical. Because with faith and Allah's guidance, existence, mere existence, is a blessing beyond every other blessing. The Originator created me and gave me an opportunity to enjoy eternally in a paradise as wide as the heavens and the earth, where are such things as no eye has ever seen, no ear has ever heard of, and nobody has ever thought of. You know, our clothes in heaven, where do they come from? We pick them up from trees.
What?
And you're saying, I don't want to go because I don't want to get tired? And by the way, it's unfair to say that our whole life is tiring and depressing. Try to count how many blessings Allah has created for us that beautify and enrich our lives. Your pillow, your blanket and your socks, the cup of tea with milk in the morning, the window in your house, the cold breeze, your mother, father, grandfather, grandmother, sister and brother, the doctor, the carpenter, the farmer, the grocer and the falafel guy, the believers who pray for you in every prayer. And there's some people in our life we don't interact with them much, yet we're happy for their existence. How do you feel when you say, I have an aunt, I have an uncle, I have friends? Their mere existence in life is joyful. The pleasures of life are simple. You don't have to live in a palace in order to enjoy life.
But when we get used to things, we stop appreciating them.
That's true. That's true. That's why we should always remind ourselves in the name of Allah, the Originator.
Okay, I will remind you.
Thank you. And I'll remind you too.
And I will remind you.
And I will remind you, and I will remind you.
And I will make sure to remind you all the time.
And I will remind all of you.